What up, fools? Yo, welcome back to our Ahipara new build series, guys. Far out. If you haven't already, subscribe. In this episode, we are going to be talking about, or installing, all the internal doors, right? So we've got our standard doors here, our prehung ones. We've got we actually got a double door there behind you. We've got a big slider, wardrobe sliders, and cavity sliders. So we're going to be installing all those and teach you how I do it. So, welcome. So, and fools, I don't know why that's in my head, but anyway. So I'm in this section right now. I thought I'd start here because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 doors, all in the same, 4 doors, four, all in the same area, right? So, first thing I need to do is I need to make sure that I got to find the highest point in this section. We want to make sure that all the heads of our doors, or all the doors, are exactly the same height. And the way we do that is we just flick on our laser, like that. I'm going to go through and check against every side of the opening and see what one is the highest. So I'll do that quickly. Alright, so now that I've done that, I've gone through and I've checked all the heights. Whoops. I know where my datum point is now. My shortest measurement is 1270, so that's going to be the highest point on the floor, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through, I'm just going to measure, I'm going to write the measurements on each side of the doors, because on the side here, no good. Once I go put the door in, I'm not going to be able to see it, and I can actually work off that. So 1270 is going to be my one. If this one's 1272, I'll put a 2mm packer down there, and that way I know my door's going to be sitting perfectly plumb at the top. This out of here. Alright, now that's done. We'll got to figure out where our doors are actually going to be positioned, right? This door here, we want it to be perfectly centered in between the two walls adjacent to it. Now these ones here, bit of a playoff. We really want to have the same distance here as we do on this side. And then this one here, it doesn't really matter where it goes. Obviously, because there's nothing to sort of balance it off. So the way I'll do that is I've got to go measure the size of the door, the overall width of the jamb. And then I can actually use that measurement to figure out exactly where the door's going to be positioned to get it center. So I'll go do that now. Yeah. In order for us to get the correct positionings of the doors, I need to measure the jamb. Now the jamb is the timber piece that goes around the outside of the door. So like that. We've got 851. I'll write that down. 851. And then I got this double door over here. I'll quickly go measure it. Meter 65. I'll write a meter 65. Now I want to try and get my architraves even around this, on these two corners here. So I'm going to try and figure that, see if I can get that, see if it's possible. So first thing I want to do is I want to measure the overall distance between these walls, because this door here is going to dictate the size of the architrave that goes around. Then I can sort of work back off that. So I'll just measure this. Got 1172. So cut that in half is going to be 586 center. So now I've got the center of this wall here. I'm going to just divide my 1065 by 2 and push it back out that way. So shit's tight. Hey Fabiano. Hey? It's tight, bro. 530, 532. Jeez, not much to play with there.
What do you reckon, Blaine?
No, just well, I guess it's right.
You want me to finish off that second clip on the other side?
Yeah, bro, that's it. So it really only got about 52 mil. So unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get my even architraves, but that's okay. As long as I know that that door's going to be in the center, I can now work back off that. Just wanted to confirm it before I carried on. Now I want to start with these two side doors because I haven't done them in a while. So got off the wall I got 924. See what this one is. Okay, just stick the door in, then I'm just going to couple of packers under here and a couple of wedges. What I'm trying to do is trying to line the jamb up with our jib board and trying to get that nice and plumb with that packer down there. So now, what I'm doing, just want to make sure that my jamb is lining up with my jib board, and I just use my ruler like that, and that is going to make it flush so I can put my architrave on to hide this gap. Now that I know that I've already packed it out, now you notice I've put my packers pretty much close to where the hinges are. Just want to double check this before I go ahead and what I'm doing now is I'm just checking when I close the door that I've got a parallel gap all the way along here. Now it should be pretty good because it's good with the level, but sometimes you need to make a few adjustments. And honestly, I think this packer here is actually too big, which is a shame. It's going to be very difficult for me to get this goddamn packer out now because I nailed it. So I think what I'm going to do is that next time I might actually leave the middle packers out and put them in after. Now that I'm happy with the gap along the side and the top, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to frickin' make sure that my door is flush with our jamb, right? Now, in this cases, I've gone flush with the jib board, but now down the bottom, all I want to do is make sure that I'm flush, right? So I can actually move this in and out. I've already gone through and screwed it off, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist. And once I've done that, then I can actually plumb this up, which is going to be real good. Move that back. Ding, ding. Go through and plumb this up. My packers. Now I will say, when you're packing this side, the side that the handle lands on, you want to make sure that your screws are above or below 1 meter, because 1 meter is where our latch comes through, and we don't want to be chiseling out around where the latch is. And as you just saw, I just pretty much making sure that my gap all the way around the door is pretty much perfect. And yeah, whoa, self-opener. Shit, you know you don't have a good door when the door opens by itself? No. One last thing is I've also, if I can get it, I've also positioned the screws in such a way that's going to be hidden by the doorstop, if you can see that. Just that first row at least. But yeah, how's that? Now I'll just do the rest of these. I'll do these two, and then we'll get to here. First one's always the hardest, fuck. Alright, so before I stick this door in the bathroom here, I've actually got my tile and slate, or floor underlay, tile underlay in the way. So I need to do a quick check out in the door jamb just to allow for that. And I know I don't have any fancy saws, so it's just a standard hand saw, but that's okay. Okay, so double doors, same thing. These can be a little bit more fiddly. What we're trying to achieve is a beautiful gap on each side along the top and then down the middle here. You can see we also want to make sure that our doors sit flush together. Flush, flush, flush. So that's the part that sometimes it gets a little bit niggly, trying to get them flush. But same system, work our way around. It's got the laser set up, making sure that my head heights are right. I've spaced it evenly in between the walls, and now I just pack and go for gold. So this is what you don't want with the door, let's just say, when we're finished. You can see it's kind of nice at the top, and then we've got a big gap down the bottom. We really want these to be nice and flush, like that. That's the goal. Cut line. Block that I've screwed on here to keep my doors nice and flush, the front face, that, and now pretty much that's the door done. You see we've got a clean line all the way along the top, the two doors match up, clean lines, clean gaps between the hinge and the door, the jamb, and also a clean center mark all the way through. Now I played around with that for quite a long time actually, just fiddling around with it because shit, yeah. I don't know the exact way to do it. Well, I mean I do, I just did it, but there's no exact science really. There's some little bits might need to move over here and then you might need to adjust it up over there. It's just each door's different, but yeah. Okay, so we made our way through to the wardrobe sliders. Woo-wee. Now, a few things to note. This frame doesn't come like this. The jambs themselves come a little bit longer and you've got to pre-cut them to the size that you need to fit inside your wardrobe. So we've gone ahead and done that. Now, when I'm doing these, I actually like to use shims or wedges, and I just stack them on top of each other like that, and I can push them in and out to get a good packing surface. The reason being is I can actually manipulate the jamb itself to twist in certain directions. It's fairly important to get the jambs here square with the wall that you're building. Otherwise, when you go to put the track in, you'll notice little twists here and there. So, good way to sort of manipulate that. But yeah, Once I've done that, but yeah. One last thing, we also want to make sure, like, I mean, we're obviously plumbing up each side. We want to make sure that these are nice and plumb, but at the end of the day, if you've got it a little bit out, you sort of want the opening at the top to be the same at the bottom. I've been caught out before where I've plumbed one and plumbed the other, and it's been a mil or two out. And when you go to close the slider doors on it, you actually notice it. So yeah, I like to just put a little mark, 1500 mark down the bottom, or even cut a piece of timber would even be better. But I've just put a little mark there, 1500, so I know that top and bottom are parallel. All right, so I've just come to start putting in the track system for our wardrobe sliders. Now, I've actually made a bit of a bust up. I'll show you in a second, but oh, I just got PV on me. But in the bedrooms that have carpet, I like to put a 10mm packer underneath the track system before it goes in. That way, the carpet isn't dipping. There's not such a big dip between the carpet and the track system itself. Now, this causes its own issues because I've actually built this jamb to the specifications of the doors and the tracks, but I didn't allow for this 10mm. So I have to go through and I actually have to chop the doors down, the top of the doors over there, down 10mm in order for me to get them in. But I'd rather have it like this and have things perfect the way I like it. But yeah. Another thing to make sure and take into consideration, make sure that this bottom is plumb. I mean level as. It needs to be super flat. If you've got any deviation in it, you'll notice it in the doors. And when the door closes, it's actually going to sort of close on an angle. It's not going to close plumb. So very important to get that nice. And another cool thing about this track system, could keep going on and on, is that it's a hidden fasten system. So we've got this bottom piece of extrusion that we've screwed down for some pan heads, and then this piece here literally sits over the top like that. Push in. Beautiful. Now I've got PVA everywhere. Look, I've got to go clean that up. Okay, so now we've got to pretty much fit the door off with the right stuff. So we've got these little rollers, these go on the bottom. They've already been checked out for us. Now there's a screw. Now there's a screw here that's the adjustment for the wheel to go up and down. We want to make sure that that's facing out towards the door because there's a little hole there that we can adjust it from. Now these just slide on in there. We've got these little tabs that pretty much compress when you slide it in, and that pretty much holds it in place, and we're really just relying on the weight of the door to keep these in, but they're not going anywhere. They're pretty solid. Now at the top we've got these little discs, and they pretty much screw onto the top of the door and pretty much guide the top of the door backwards and forwards. And it's going to keep it off the top track so there's no scratch marks along the top of the door. Now I haven't seen in the past, because it sometimes can be a real bugger to get this right in the middle, that this disc itself isn't fully circle, it's a little bit oval, so you can actually spin it and make one side hang over further than the other if needs be. Boom! One down, one to go. Bro, do you want to take one of these home? For smackies? Whoa, great minds think alike, eh? Who's our naughty boy? What was that noise? Bro, shut up! You don't know me. You don't know my life story. Right, so as you've seen there, I was just shuffling the doors around from one wardrobe to the other. And the reason I was doing that is there's a specific way that I want these doors, right? Now, I want the doors to be lapping like this, okay? And the reason being is as you walk into the room, I don't want to be able to see a gap between the doors. So if I had it like this, you're going to see the end of the door, right? But where this way here, it's going to look good. Looks better like that as you walk in. Now, the reason I was having difficulty with that is because we need to have, there's a block in here, and that block is going to support our door handle or a handle that goes on. So we need to make sure that the orientation of our door is correct. We also need to take into consideration that these doors are tapered. So what I mean by that is there's a taper on, I'll show you. If I put my square on the front of the store, it's going to be dark, but I don't know if you can see that at the back end of my square there's a little gap. And what that does is that allows the door to shut tight against the jamb. And if it's swinging, it gives it a bit of play for it to close nicely. So all those factors need to be taken into consideration when we're putting these in. But now that I've got them in the right locations, I can just go through and I just need to adjust. Now that I've got all the doors in the right location, where I want them, I just go through and I just adjust them with my little screwdriver down the bottom to get them nice and hitting against this jamb perfectly. And then that's them. Onto the cavity slider. You suck, Fabian! Alright, the last door. Okay, we've got our cavity slider door to go in. Now, I've already put the pocket in before we jibbed, obviously. Now, one thing to take into consideration when we're doing these is we want to make sure that this top is level. We don't want it to, and it needs to be dead straight. You could imagine if the door had a little bit of a uprise up here like that. When you go to close the door will just slide back open again. So we need to make sure that it's dead level. Now, we've got a kit, and we're just going to go install it on the door. The kit comes with rollers, rolling mechanisms. So this gets screwed to the door, then these get thrown into the door like that. And then we just connect the two together. And then we nail this side off. I haven't nailed this off yet because there's a few tips and tricks that we need to do to make it look good.
Emojis?
What's that?
Text like that, you said like an emoji.
Emoji?
Yeah, you just did an emoji.
What the hell's it? What are you going on about?
It must be a black thing.
An emoji? An emoji?
Yeah, emoji.
Is it similar to a menage a trois? That shit from the 1920s. No, that shit. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now stay in there.
You're bastard.
Oh, the doors are on the fucking wrong way. Fuck! So now I'm just gonna adjust the door so it sits nice and flush with this jamb here. Pretty dark, but there's this nut here that tightens onto the thing. Tighten that up and it stops it from moving. So with this one, tighten that up. Okay, so the reason I haven't nailed this off plumb yet is I really want the door to hit top and bottom perfectly. Now it's easier for me to do this once I've got the door in. And I also want to have a perfect line from the top here. This gap wants to look exactly the same. So if I went and nailed that off like that, then we're going to have an uneven gap between the door and the jamb. So I can actually adjust that to where I need it, and then just work from there. Oh, Dave.
Yeah, that's crack on, man. Yeah.
What, like a baby?
No, because I was like, we didn't say under.
Dick! Sorry, Dave. Hey! And that's it for another episode of Ahipara New Build, where we hang all the doors. Cavity sliders, wardrobe sliders, your standard pre-hung doors, your double doors, we had it all. Different tips and tricks for each one, but mainly making sure that you're keeping things nice and plumb level, making sure your jambs are square, and all that good shit. But thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Ep16.
Yeah.